especially late
And
at night
don't
if you're
and don't
smoking.
come at me with don't come at me with your tasty cakes and your Hostess. It's all Little Debbie
Yeah, it's
down
all
here.
Little Debbie. It's all Little Debbie wherever. I mean, Hostess had their time. All right, let's get into this week's news because we had a lot to cover, and I'm kind of
Well, you know
excited.
the
What
McKee Bakery, the Little Debbie like headquarters is literally like 20 minutes from here.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, let's get into the news.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is something that's really kind of it's messed up. And again, Freemo and we talk offline, or if you jump on Xbox with us or anything, you'll hear us talk about political bullshit. But on the show, we try to not do that because it just causes arguments. And then Freemo gets a bunch of hate mail because he's an idiot and says the wrong
Oh,
thing.
that's going to give me some hate mail.
But the Rittenhouse verdict came in. And I just want to touch upon that real quick. And again, look, it's Kyle Rittenhouse. This was the teenager that was accused of killing 2 people during demonstrations in Kenosha, Wisconsin last summer.
Yeah.
You'll see the video, and if you're watching the video live, you'll see that I posted the picture of when he was walking down the street. Him and somebody else walking down the street with their, I believe it's an AR-15 free. Is that correct?
Rittenhouse was carrying an AR-15, correct?
So and I get it. We've talked before about the husband and wife who just got lambasted on every media outlet that were guarding their house in front of their house with their guns. I think those two are morons, but I believe in their right to stand on their property and make sure that protesters don't tear down their fence or throw stuff at their house. I don't know if you'd have a gun, but I agree with their right to protect their home. This guy, Rittenhouse, was walking down the street and he just injected himself into these problems and just causing more problems. Right. And he walked right by police to do it, which was shocking unto itself. So a 12-person jury deliberated for a little over 25 hours, and then the 18-year-old was found not guilty on all 5 felony charges. Now, I don't want to get into an ethical debate. I don't want to get into whether it was self-defense or provoked because there's a lot of theories on that. There's a lot of arguments about that. And to be frank, I looked into it a little bit, and I can go either way on it. I see both sides. Again, that's probably me being a Libra, but I can see both sides of their argument.
Well, I'll sum it up this way. The jury gave a verdict, and that's what everybody's going to have to live with. Now,
exactly.
There's pros and cons to both sides of it. If he had never injected himself into the situation, then it never would have happened. But at the same time, if other people hadn't done what they did, it may never have happened. So,
exactly.
It is what it is as far as what's happened. That can't be changed. So all we can do is learn from it,
Mm-hmm. And both of us have agreed before that when it gets to that point and the courts give a verdict, our job as Americans, and this is whether you like it or not, you have to stand by it. If you don't like the verdict, then make your voice heard in voting and getting those judges that you don't like out. But until then, if they're a judge and they give a verdict in our court system, we need to obey it. We don't have to agree with it all the time, but we do have to obey it. Because if we don't start doing that, the whole system fails. But as usual, we go a little deeper.
We've been known to go very deep.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, again, the other story that people really aren't talking about with the Rittenhouse thing is that he said he fired his former attorney, Lynn Wood, because of his belief in QAnon and election fraud theories.
Yeah.
Now, there was apparently a pot of money for defense and bail, and now the question is, did someone take the money? He's turning around and saying, and this whole thing, this is the part that FreeMo and I feed on, because this is the ridiculousness that comes in. He went to court. He would have to pay for his crimes. They found him not guilty. That's done. You can't try him again. That's the way this court did it. But the way the court did things, my gosh, from picking the jurors' names out of a hat, literally in the courtroom, which is unheard of and stupid, to attorneys holding guns at people, whether they were loaded or not. You're still pointing a gun at somebody. You have pictures. There was a picture of Rittenhouse posing with Proud Boys, But he turned around and said, no, that's his attorney's fault. His attorney made him do it, and that's what his attorney did. The whole thing is very strange, and I implore you to click on the links in the show notes and read into the whole backstory of this whole thing because, again, it's shitty people working with shitty people, and they're just both trying to screw each other. Lynn Wood said that he wanted to get paid for his. Now, there was apparently like $2 million in this pot, Free, and he took $700,000 out of it. He's like, that's my pay. I don't disagree with him for that because how the fuck are you going to trust Rittenhouse to even pay you at this point? He's not guilty. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Because he also supposedly said he was going to keep him in jail as long as possible for political purposes with all the elections coming up. I'm like, what?
None of that.
How do you do that to somebody?
It's the dumbest shit ever. But Lynn Wood also worked very hard to push former President Trump's false claims of election fraud. So none of these people are innocent, you know, and they're just trying to screw each other. And I truly feel that this is going to get brushed under. But as a good BGFG listener, I'm expecting you guys to do your little due diligence and your research and click on that link and search for it every once in a while. Say, what happened to Lynn Wood and Rittenhouse? And just see what comes up because they're going to try to brush it. We've talked about that. We pointed out here on the show before that FreeMo and I go looking at a story that we did months ago, and the story suddenly disappeared. There's no action on it because they got what they wanted. They got their 50 minutes of fame or got something overturned. Our question is this, though. If you knew all of these problems with this attorney, then why did you hire him to begin with?
Exactly.
If he was a member of QAnon and Proud Boys and helped Trump, like, why did you hire him? You must have had something that you liked, something that you know, camaraderie or something like that. You must have something, right?
I don't know how to explain it other than
what?
Well, his original attorney,
yeah,
he got rid of.
Was that guy from TV?
Yeah, and then he got rid of the Linwood guy. And he was a minor when some of those decisions were made. I think he obviously turned 18 since. So I think some of the decisions may not have been his.
Yeah,
and I honestly think he's also working on cashing in.
Oh yes.
After watching his interview with that he did with
didn't he get
what's his name from Fox, Tucker Carlson.
Oh, Tucker's a piece of shit too. That's a
douchebag. I don't know, man. He can be funny.
He can be, but for the most part, he's just. There's a guy, I don't like any news organization or news people that consistently try to poke things. I get that you try, we've done it before, we've interviewed or anything. You try to move people into certain directions. That's our job as an interviewer. And you do that intelligently by moving the conversation.
Right.
These guys Tucker Carlson just constantly spews out bullshit. And then once he gets called down on it, they turn around, they're like, oh, we're going to retract that later. You full of shit. I honestly think this is just going to keep civil unrest going.
Well, here's the thing. They talk about Fox talks about how MSNBC, CNN are all liberal hacks pushing the leftist agenda, and then they all talk about how Fox and whoever are all right-wing hacks pushing the conservative agenda, and they're all owned by the same people.
Yeah.
So all they are there is to pander to a sector of our society.
Yep.
There is no true independent journalism left in this country. There hasn't been for a while.
Nope.
The only way for you to actually get real news is to go find it yourself. Now there's
for this country.
Yeah,
if you
there's
go,
a few independent. There's a few independent YouTubers, bloggers, vloggers, etc. out there in this country that will give you the facts, and then let you draw your own conclusion based on how you feel about things. But there's not very many of them, and they're hard to find.
And if you think, we've told you before, a lot of our news is actually originally sourced from overseas because it's just, there's a cute baby coming into the screen right there. Look at that Bambino. Look at him. Look
You
at
want
him.
to eat it? You want to eat it?
Don't eat the camera. Please don't eat the camera. Oh, that's going to be drool on the camera. That's awful. I honestly think they're doing a lot of this stuff with the Rittenhouse trial and stuff just to keep civil unrest going.
Sure.
With the Rittenhouse trial, you're definitively on one side or the other, essentially splitting the country. Where the other important news didn't even get as much media, and I'm talking about the 3 men that were found guilty of killing Aubrey.
Yeah.
This is some bullshit, Free. It strikes us as odd here at BGFG that this didn't make bigger headlines. Because again, as we're telling you guys all the time, this is political. They're commanding it. And I'm not going to sit here and do the whole Alex Jones thing and everything. I'm telling FreeMo and I tell you the same thing all the time. Look at the facts. That's all. Just look at the facts. There's 2
And
trials.
the facts, and the reason you're not going to hear about this anything about this is because there is no controversy. These guys did something they shouldn't have done. Period, and they're being convicted of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I am a little surprised it didn't get more because of the fact that it did have the racial aspect to the case.
Oh yeah.
But you also have to look at the time frame of when this occurred. You also had Floyd, Breonna Taylor.
Mm-hmm. When it happened, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But the trials now, and this trial, I felt, was... Because on one hand, you have a kid that was put on trial for murder, and it was more vigilantism. And honestly, gun ownership. That's what that was about, the Rittenhouse trial, I feel. Because in the McMichael trial, you're talking about 3 chuckleheads that were found guilty of gunning down a black man in Georgia because he was running down the street for simply going for a run. And you never heard about the verdict. It was so brushed under because it wasn't about guns. They didn't complain about guns, and it wasn't like they were walking on the street with AR-15s. These are 2, look at the picture. These are 2 guys, father and son, that literally had shotguns like good old boys do. They thought that this guy was breaking and entering all over the neighborhood, so they decided to take matters into their own hands. Where they stopped, instead of stopping and questioning him and getting into a fist fight or something or calling the police, they decided to say, if you move, I'm going to shoot you, and that's not okay. What I want to point out though for the viewers is what I have posted right now is a picture of them at their trial. Looks good. You can see which one out of the 3 guys. You can see the 2 that are father and son. Let's look at their original mugshot, shall we? The original mugshot couldn't say, I just got back from Walmart and I don't like what's going on in the street. I'm going to take my shotgun and I'm going to head out there. Because they both, honest to God, I mean, you goof on me and being in the North, and I goof on you and being in the South, but there are certain stereotypes. I don't give a shit where you live. That it's just like, dude, look at yourselves. They get all cleaned up for the trial, but before the trial, man, they look like somebody that would come out of their house with a shotgun, spitting tobacco. They honestly did. Maybe they go gator hunting. I don't know.
Not where they live. No.
Their whole argument was that they were protecting their neighborhood, and they were trying to make a citizen's arrest.
They said that there had been break-ins in the neighborhood, and they thought that this guy maybe had just left somewhere, had just broken in somewhere, and that's why he was running.
Well, they're even saying like it was like buildings that were being built, like houses built, pre-builds and stuff. Well, I can tell you from growing up in an area that was building houses and shit. Yeah, I went into some of those. I thought it was fucking cool to see the bare walls and stuff and how they run electricity.
I do it all the time.
That was bad.
That's like that's one of the things we do. We drive around into new neighborhoods they're building, and you got homes in various stages of construction. Yeah. And they're open. There's nothing's posted. We're obviously not going in to hurt anything, but we'll go in and look at the layout and, I like this design, and look what they did on this backsplash and stuff like that. But once they put the windows and the doors on, game off.
Yeah, it's all. And like I said before, if you look at the mugshot of these 2, let me tell you, if they came out of their house, I'm white. I'm whiter than white. And if they came out of their house with guns telling me to stop, I'm running. That's just the way I grew up. I'm out of there. You're waving guns at me? No, I'm out.
Do you think they'd be convicted of you dying from a heart attack?
Possibly.
They forced you to run?
Possibly. I mean, I'd only get like 5-6 feet, and then I would have a coronary. Stroke right out.
You got to make it a little bit further to get out of shotgun.
That's all I'm trying to do. That's all. But the whole point being is that wasn't that trial, I think, more important than the Rittenhouse trial, because the Rittenhouse
I,
trial,
I absolutely think it was.
Rittenhouse trial was more about guns. It really was. It was about the right to bear arms and the right to protect yourself. Whereas the McMichael trial was more about racial profiling. Really, that's all it
Yeah.
was.
Well,
Things.
I think what happened was the prosecution tried to make it about the Second Amendment,
Hmm,
and they lost that argument. I think if they'd have approached it differently, they might have had a better chance.
yeah.
But they made it about that instead of making it about was this self defense or not.
Yeah.
I think they'd have had, and I'm not saying that the verdict would have been any different, but I think that they would have had a better chance of saying that this wasn't self defense because he acted recklessly by being there at his
With the gun.
age
Yeah.
with that firearm.
And I don't
Not
disagree
whether
with that.
not whether or not he should have had the firearm, but just the fact that he was there with it was poor decision making. So he's culpable to a degree. Now, would that be manslaughter or negligent homicide versus murder?
Right.
I don't know, but the way they went about it, they, yeah,
Well,
they basically handcuffed themselves with, and that's my opinion on the
how
way they
how
went
old do you
about
have
it.
to be? I don't know how much it is down here because I don't fuck with guns. But down south, how old do you have to be to get a gun license?
It's the same. That's a federal thing.
How old?
You have to be 18 to actually legally own a rifle.
So was he 18? Like I didn't even see that in the news in the article I pulled up. Was he 18 when he got arrested?
Not no, he was 17 at the time.
So then, how the hell did he have a license for that weapon?
You have to be 18 to legally own it. The carry requirements are different based on state,
Uh,
and you have to be 21 to own a pistol.
Man, this is very confusing. That's very confusing. For somebody that doesn't own guns, I believe everybody has the right to own them, but I don't know any of the laws because I'm not into guns. And
Yeah.
the fact that it's just that confusing is kind of shitty, you know?
Well, they may. I say 18. They may have changed the rifle age in the last few years. Let me check real quick.
Well, while you're doing that, let me just say that, let me tell the dependents right now, keep your heads on a swivel because shit is getting weird and it seems like the idiots are running the asylum lately. Those two idiots, the trials that we're seeing, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, scummy politicians, the list goes on and on and on. And speaking of cryptocurrency, did you happen to see what's happening to the Staples Center?
Yeah.
What in the actual hell? It's now going to be called the Crypto.com arena. Where have we gone, people? I get it. You have different names for different things and they buy the names so you can get a deal where you can get something like the Staples Center naturally by Staples. And they probably had a 20-year deal or a 15-year deal to have that as there. But there's certain things like the Boston Garden that will never change names because it's the Boston Garden. It's a
Yeah.
pun intended. It's a staple of that area.
Well, but like LA, everything's for sale, man.
That
You know how
just
we were talking about tokenization a few weeks back and
Yeah.
how the ultimate goal is to tokenize everything in the world? LA will be tokenized. I fully believe that those people will be,
doesn't surprise me at all.
they'll be like, City of Beverly Hills lamppost number 732, buy a piece of it today.
Yeah.
I mean, own a piece of Beverly Hills.
That's so true because here you have the house that Kobe built, and then all of a sudden, well, that could just be sold to Crypto.com. They have the money right now, so they're going to rename it for 20 years. It's a 20-year deal free.
Yeah.
20
They're
years.
gonna regret that.
They're going to regret the shit out of that. You're talking
Because-
multiple. What?
But because and I know you said we're not gonna go out all Alex Jones on us. So this is actually a little bit tongue in cheek for those of you who I've been away for a while. Some of you may not know me well enough yet, but they're going to regret that 20-year deal because when the Illuminati that runs the federal banking system gets tired of crypto,
Yeah.
and they shut it down. I mean,
They're screwed.
yeah.
We've talked about it before where cryptocurrency is just you can tell it's good on paper, blockchain, we've talked about it to death on the show. Blockchain's where it's at. You know, with a blockchain, there's so many things you can accomplish with blockchain. But cryptocurrency and NFTs are a fucking joke. We've said it 100 times here, and I wish people would just believe us because it's absolute garbage. You're talking about the LA Arena that's got multiple sports teams, hosts the Grammy Awards, concerts. E3 has been held next door with an overflow going to the arena for years. And they're going to change this. You know when they're going to change this? Christmas Day.
Yeah, this year.
You got to be shitting me, man. Just
Nope.
the absolute bullshit. I can't even. I feel like a 20. I can't even. But I can't. It's some of these things sometimes I'm driving to work, I'll just shut off the radio. Like I don't even want to hear some of this bullshit. Like I try to listen to the most. My wife and friends and stuff, they ask me all the time, like, whoa, where do you get all that news and stuff? I look at headlines every morning, but as for the rest of my day, I try to avoid all that shit. The wife puts on Channel 10 NBC in the morning, and I get to listen to Hoda Koffi sound like she's a real fucking journalist. And she does worse segues than I do. It's awful. And there's never any real news. And the wife thinks it's hilarious because it's on in the background. I'll be upstairs changing or doing something, and I'll just be bitching nonstop, like just to nobody, just bitching out in the air about just her lack of journalism. Just awful. And you can switch to like any news organization. FreeMo and I have told you numerous times. Go to any news organization. It's an absolute joke. Get your news from overseas newspapers. You will see exactly what the rest of the world thinks of the United States, and you will get real news on the important topics. And I don't mean like the break-in down the street, or the wife brought up something that she wanted me to ask you about for some sort of murder in Chattanooga involving some young girl named Angel that duct taped. I don't know if you recall this at all. But it's just like this ongoing news fodder that doesn't really, like, this is 10 years old. Why are you bringing this up now? It's a cold case.
Well, here's the thing. As long as they keep us distracted from what they're doing in Washington,
Yeah.
they can continue to do what they're doing in Washington.
Yep. Every fucking time.
And love them or hate them, one of the things that Trump did expose, he pulled back the curtain a little bit.
A little bit.
Now, don't know if that was by design or not. I think it was probably more from his ineptitude. But,
correct. It's definitely not by design.
Yeah.
He's just a dumbass.
So,
but with Biden in now, it's at least with Trump, you never knew if he was just going to say something completely asinine and let out a secret on national TV. But with Biden, it's like business as usual.
Don't look over here.
Nothing to see here.
Ooh, look at that.
I don't know about business as usual. They're
No, I mean
having
the
to work
secrets.
overtime to. Oh yeah, the secrets. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're having to work overtime to. Sorry, pardon me. I've got to put a password in real quick.
Oh, that's fine.
I made my provider come out and upgrade my wireless router to a business class one. I was like, this ain't getting it for me, guys.
Oh, there goes the headphones. If you're watching on video, his headphones just shot off his head, which was fucking great.
Yeah, that was funny.
All right, well, you
Hold
put in
on.
the password.
Let me check first.
Well, you put in the password and take care of that. Let's do this week's music. This week's music, I pulled up something. I was struggling to find good music because I've been listening I listen to Spotify a lot, and they just came out with their yearly, what you've listened to. So I've been listening to that playlist constantly because, again, all the stuff I've been listening to is ironically stuff that I fucking like. So I've been cruising that playlist. And a lot of it's the shit that we've already done, so I didn't want to do it again. So I picked something just out of the ordinary, I guess you could say. It's called Dinosaur Pileup.
Yeah.
The
I'm
song's
gonna
called,
give it. I'm getting. This will be a first time for me.
Oh, awesome. This is Backfoot. I just like it. I think it's got a good beat. I could dance to it. I'll give it a 7.
And
That's funny. Fuck you.
It is funny. Not as funny as stuff I say, but it was funny.
Oh, I see what you did there, you douche. All right, we're going to catch you on the other side for some holiday shopping guide. And this week, we're doing shopping You'll see.
And I'm also going to make Phoenix jealous during the music because I'm going to
Oh, you
consume that
rat bastard. That is a delightful little...
on camera.
Oh, that's good
So
stuff.
here we go.
All right, we'll catch you on the other side.
Mama always told me be a man, that I should get my shit together for it while I can. Like, yeah, whatever. I said, Mama, you don't understand, cause I'm gonna be stupid famous and rocking in a band. Yeah, you know, couple years later, here I am. I'm living the big city life, just doing what I can to get by waiting tables. Yeah, I'm looking for the man. And you know, lately it's starting to feel awful like I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the woo. Yeah, it's like I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, everybody says that I'm a slob, that I'm a waste of space and super lazy. Oh my god, like yeah, whatever. I'll be right if you've been on the job, getting paid $6.80 to wait on tables of rich ladies and their dogs. I wish that I had more than I got. I wish I wasn't Conan and was rolling at the top. I wish I was a billionaire and balling like The Rock. But you know, lately it's starting to feel awful like I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the woo. Yeah, it's like I'm always on the back foot. Yeah. Now that you know me, yeah, back foot. I'm always on the back foot. Now that you know me, yeah. You know, people always hating what I got. They talking shit about me cause I'm wicked and they not. Like, yeah, whatever, all you jealous bitches know you want a piece of my sickness, my precious business, my vision, commitment, show, perseverance, my feeling, my rhythm, my talent, and what? I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what. I'm gonna do exactly whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna keep on doing it till I get to the top. Cause you know, I guess I'm getting used to feeling like I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the woo. It's like I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the back foot. I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the back foot. Yeah, I'm always on the back foot. Yeah.
Oh, what'd you think?
I like it.
It's good stuff. And now, if
They
you're
got,
watching,
they got a really good sound.
if you're watching some of the live video, it might have gone through. Not only did he eat the Little Debbie, which if you haven't had one, Little Debbie's are delightful, and especially the Christmas ones. They're just so friggin' good. But he also had a cowtail, which I haven't seen in a minute. Cowtails are really good. Now you gotta wipe your beard, you slob. Nice job. That was good stuff. So that was Dinosaur Pileup. The song's called Backfoot. And now we're into one of the happiest times of the year, Free. And
Did you see the link that I sent you?
I did. I did see that. Like,
I also posted it on the website.
good. That's awesome. Drive through to
Yeah.
hand a maskless woman a mask. That is so dumb. We do the same thing.
The post says, "How dumb will we become?" And then there's the link for that video, and then underneath, "Stay tuned."
Yeah. Speaking of dumb shit, let's get into this week.
Okay.
You'll see.
Oh, real quick, I just wanted to clarify the minimum age stuff that I was talking about is correct.
You're interrupting probably one of the greatest intros of all time.
Well, I didn't hear it start. Cue it again.
No. No.
Go.
So how old is the age?
I was right. 18. You can purchase and legally own a long rifle, which would be shotgun,
Yeah,
AR-15, as long as it's semi-automatic, which is the same thing as a pistol. A pistol's also semi-automatic, but because of the concealment factor, you have to be 21 to be able to carry a pistol
correct.
because you can
Yeah,
obviously conceal it.
right,
Whether you're licensed or not, anybody can stick a pistol in a pocket or back in the waistband.
right. So this week's shopping guide. It's time to start thinking about that stupid ass Christmas party that we all have at work. It sucks. A lot of us have to go through it. I'm hoping I don't have to do it this year. I don't think we're going to because we have literally all new people. But
Well, how can you exchange gifts when you have to be 6 feet apart?
yeah, that's the other thing is that I'm pretty sure they're going to frown upon that. Absolutely. Toss it over. But usually it's less than $30. So let's take a look at some gifts that you can get for under $30.
That was pre-inflation.
You're such a dick. So everything's skyrocketed now. I mean,
If you keep it at 30, you're getting socks.
well, yeah, there's some questionable gifts. And then you always have the 2 or 3 people, and I do mean 2 or 3 people that completely either forget about it or don't care enough about it and get something on the way to the party at the store. Yeah, it happens all the time. So the first thing is the no-touch door opener.
For me, that's usually a 12-pack of Sam Adams.
Yeah, liquor's
Like,
always a good idea.
Yeah, I brought this.
Right. So the no-touch door opener is the first item. You've seen these; they're real good for that person that walks around all the time and hits every single hand sanitizer as they pass it at work. These are the people you get this shit for, and it's a 4-pack for $18. So you can give it to 4 different people if you have a bigger, clientele or some kids. Now I see some of it. I see the need for. I can tell you that if it.
You can use it to open doors, push buttons like for elevators.
Yeah, and
carry bags that someone else may have touched, like at the grocery store when they bag your groceries.
But
True
people-
story. True story. Saw this lady walk out of the grocery store, and she didn't have one of these. She had it's just like
Yeah,
one
like
of
a
those
hook.
old, like a hook that you screw into the beam in your garage
right.
to hang your bike on.
Yeah,
She had 2 of those, right? And she was carrying her bags out that they had obviously bagged, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming she said, please put them on these hooks. She carries them out. She sets the bags down next to her car. She opens the back door of the car out, grabs a bottle of spray sanitizer and paper towels,
oh,
and proceeds to take every item out of the bags,
oh,
clean
gosh.
them, and put them in her shopping
Nope.
reusable bags that she had in the back seat.
Nope. No.
And then she did, but she's obviously a very responsible person ecologically because she didn't just leave the grocery bags laying there. She did dispose of them.
and that's great. I'm happy that she's thinking about the environment. But these are the type of people that are going to get sick. So this goes back to the old philosophy that our age group, our Gen Xers have, which is go outside, play in the dirt, get dirty.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a cold. Your body's going to build
get
up.
hurt. And I know it's a cliche. I mean, you can go watch an old '80s movie that had any kind of sports stuff in it with kids, and you're at some point going to hear rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. Rub some dirt on it. Yep. I just think that it's a situation where if you really, I get the no touch door opener because there's certain situations that you just don't want. Like if you've ever been in a public bathroom, there's just you're listening while you're going to the bathroom. You're listening to people just finish, walk out the door, finish, walk out the door. Now whatever was on their body is now on that door handle.
Right.
So
I mean, going to the doctor's office.
oh yeah,
Obviously, sick people are going in and out of there. It makes sense to have something,
yep.
carry a tissue, grab the handle, throw the tissue away, use one of these, whatever, makes sense. I don't. This to me is not an overboard thing per se.
I wouldn't bring it
An overboard person would want one.
right. I don't. It's not something that you would bring to the strip club either. I think they'd frown upon that. But it's still it'll keep you safe. Here's another item.
Although the strippers might want to use it to collect their money. I mean, I don't know.
So another item is the latest thing. The new hotness for supervisors and managers is now notebooks. I've seen it in a couple of different companies now. They're writing down their ideas and making notes and stuff and carrying it around all the time. Again, it's one of those things. We dealt with it in the same companies for a very long time. You just see these trends and stuff that they try to promote and get going. So if a notebook is one of those things,
yeah, it just means that somebody somewhere, like an Elon Musk or somebody, got seen with a notebook instead of
exactly,
and they're like, oh, and
or
now they're all about writing in the notebook again.
or an investor or some sort of latest guru. It's just weird. So they always come out with these, and instead of getting their favorite sports team, there is some good choices. I put a link in the show notes of geeky ones that are actually kind of funny, and they're small. You can carry them around. Redbubble has some good choices. I like Redbubble. I've used them before, and you can find something for under $15, which is really nice. And if they write out a list, like a lot of times, some of the companies will write out a list of like, okay, here's you pick 3 things you like, 3 hobbies you like. And you put it in the hat, so when somebody needs to see, they know they got your name. They can look up your folder and go, "Oh, okay." Anyway, so you can find something for them, for that, which is, I think, fun. Another one is you can also, how about a charger for the person around the office that always steals the chargers? I don't know about your office, but at my office, every single time you put a charger down, it's gone within half an hour, and I don't know where the hell it went.
I love being the only Android at this house.
Yeah, your shit doesn't get taken ever.
My USB-C is safe. In fact, if I don't like going and get my charger off the nightstand, I can just take my USB-C from my laptop, plug it to my phone for a little while, and fast charge it that way.
Nice.
That's everybody else. Have you seen my charger? Have you seen my charger?
Yeah.
I think such and such bought it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 Apple devices in this house, and I know for a fact I've bought probably 3 dozen charging cables and bricks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know where they're going, but they're both at home and at work. Going. Yeah.
Apple has taken the concept of planned obsolescence to the next level.
How?
Planned vaporization.
Oh. I don't think it's vaporizing free.
Oh, this cable's had so much through it. It's time for it to just poof, be gone.
Be gone. Well, now you can get your own personalized charger for that said cable. You can get it with their initials on it.
If you order one of these for Apple,
yeah,
one day you're going to go to unplug your brick from the outlet, and it'll be gone, but the wrap will be laid on the floor.
Oh, if it's a wrap, yeah, that's true. That is true. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Apple. Or in keeping with that same idea, you can go with a 6-foot braided cord. I have a couple around the house. Definitely handy. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Hard to break those.
$10 for assorted colors, or maybe a multi-charge cable where you have an iPhone USB-C and micro USB on one cord, and on the other end is just the USB. I bought a couple of those.
What I need here is iPhone and micro USB, because everybody's vapes charge with micro USB.
So click on the show notes, and that's exactly what you'll see. You'll see these multiple iPhone, 2 iPhone, 1 USB-C, and 1 micro USB. All on the cable.
Did it have iPhone on there?
Yes.
On the same cable?
Yeah, 2 of them actually. I have 2 in my living room on either side of the living room. If people come over, they can plug it in. It's $12. Or even more so, one in my bag, my go bag, is a retractable one of those. I love retractable cables. I think they're super handy.
Yeah, but don't loan those out.
The retractable ones?
Yeah.
No, God, never.
Abuse them. Yeah, those if those get abused, like yanked too hard, then they quit working.
Yeah. Yeah, it really sucks.
Like I know I get just 3 more inches out of that.
So you'll pay $15 for the retractable one, and for the regular one you'll pay $12. That's a pretty good deal, for that office party. Or here's another one I'll give you. How about the old-fashioned calendar?
Yeah.
That's an easy one to get for your office party, because it's something they can use all the time, whether you get the hanger one or the desktop one.
Yeah, and you'll know who to get those for because they're already gonna have their own calendar on their desk
Yeah.
that you can tell that they use, whether it be Star Wars or like an old school Far Side calendar,
Oh,
tear
Far
all
Side.
away. I love
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saying if somebody wanted to get me a Far Side or a Calvin and Hobbes calendar,
I'm not gonna argue. Yeah, there and I'm sorry, but every house, maybe it's a Gen Xer thing that being being who we are, we have to have a calendar around the house, a visual calendar to see. Yeah, I got one on my phone. My kids say that to me all the time, especially when my two sons, my two oldest sons, they say that all the time. They're like, "You have a phone?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Look it up." I'm like, "But we're right here."
my kids they know, like they'll send something by text, and I'll do that for a minute depending on what it is. But they know that if it gets to a certain level, that there's a threshold that the phone's going to ring. I'm
Yeah.
not going to continue that by text. I'm
No.
sorry, it's not happening.
Yeah. It's yeah. I gotta switch
I
it up
don't
too.
care if you handle all your business by text. No, some things you have to be able to hear the person's voice.
Correct. Correct. I agree
And
100%.
our parents' generation, it was you'd be talking on the phone, but then okay, well I'm coming over. We got to do this face to face.
Oh, those are rough.
So we've gone from face to face to at least hearing your voice on the phone
Yep.
to the kids nowadays do everything by text. So what's the next generation do?
Don't talk at all.
I guess.
That's the only thing I can think of. So those are the gifts for the office party this year. Inexpensive gifts. They'll give you some idea, some launching point. They're all under $30. And I can tell you that I would be happy to get any one of those. I'm sure you would. And it's better than getting a pack of batteries, which everybody can
Yeah.
use, but I know you didn't try real hard. And it's the thought that you want to get into. So speaking of getting into, let's get into for what it's worth.
How much is it worth? Oh, look at that. I'm gonna have to close the curtain. Why didn't you tell me?
I think it
My
looks
lighting's all wrong.
your lighting is all wrong. Oh, so for what it's worth this week, I love a good thing that goes unnoticed, and I haven't heard a whole lot about this, and I'm kind of really looking forward to talking about this with FreeMo. So the Artemis missions are from NASA, and what the Artemis missions are to land the first woman and the first person of color on the moon.
If you
Then,
believe Phoenix, the first person ever on the moon.
no, no. Look, we went to the moon. I'm going to explain it again during the segment. Asshole. Of course, we went to the moon,
When?
but we just made sure that we weren't going to the dark side of the moon. And I don't mean the album from Pink Floyd.
When did we go to the moon?
The 1969.
So you think that the moon landing that was presented back then was legitimate?
Yes.
When did you change your mind?
Long time ago. I said there during the show, during a 30-ish, I think, episode, where I was like, no, we didn't land on the moon. They totally faked that. And then I actually read it. That's where I started doing, like, serious research and stuff. And I was like, wait a minute.
You quit being a sheeple?
Yeah, I quit being the sheeple.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where I read about the whole, anyway. So I think Artemis project or program are just phenomenal missions. Yes, get some ladies on the moon. Get some people of color on the moon.
I agree with you, but I also can't stop thinking of the song in my head from Queen after hearing your admission.
What's that?
Another one bites the dust.
No. Look, we spent a lot of money to get out there. We get out there. There's a lot of questions I have, and I think we did a segment on the moon once, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of questions. Okay, there's just the phenomenon of the moon in relation to the Earth alone is astronomically impossible. And ask any astrophysicist, it just doesn't make sense. The perfectly round doesn't make sense. The fact that it doesn't spin doesn't make sense. There's so many things that don't. But did we go there? Yes. Did we land? Yes. Did we walk? Yes. There's missing time out of these videos.
Yeah.
And that missing
Oh,
time.
we did some stuff up there that don't nobody know about yet. I'm sure of
Exactly,
that.
exactly. There most likely, look, the moon is, even when you listen to a spacecraft land on the moon, it makes a hollow ringing sound. If you look at the craters of the moon, all the craters are the same depth. How is that possible? Look at the craters that we have on Earth. Some are 3 miles deep, some are very shallow, some obviously were gigantic explosions. Of course, it determines the bedrock underneath, but at the same time, look at the moon again and realize that every single one of those craters are the same depth. So, anyway.
I don't know why, but I'm in like a music zone today.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a great idea, though. I think they should not like poke around, because if there is, and again, I don't know, but if there is a base or something on the other side, on the dark side of the moon, regardless of whether it's an alien species or our own, I don't know. I don't have those answers. I don't know.
What if they deflate it?
What do you mean they deflated?
Or what if there's rats on the spaceship and they get up there and they find out that it really is made of green cheese?
What?
I like the moon. I don't want it going anywhere.
I don't want the moon going in. What do you think, it's going to leave?
What if they poke a hole in it?
I'm just saying that it's hollow. Or
That's
it's
what I'm saying. If they end up
measured
punching
depth.
a hole in that, what happens?
I don't think they're going to
All
punch
the
a hole in
pressure
it.
inside forces the moon to move.
Look, the Artemis
Object in motion tends to stay in motion.
the Artemis project.
So,
Listen, the Artemis project, I think, is a great idea. I love their symbol. I love the way it looks. I love their idea.
That first mission, I'm interested to see what the rest of the mission patches are going to look like.
Yeah, it's
Based off that first one.
It's really cool, and it's not anything like over ambitious. It's literally, we want to send women and people of color to the moon. We haven't gone back to the moon. Let's go back to the moon. I love NASA for that.
They're also going to. I mean, part of what it is to establish a base,
Right, and again, that could be taken.
which will make the jump to Mars a little bit easier. To leave from the moon
Yeah.
to Mars will speed the actual journey up quite a bit. Believe
Would
it
it?
or not.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that would have speeded up that much, but I guess maybe safety and
You've heard of the slingshot that they're
Yeah.
talking about? You can slingshot something off of Earth in space.
Sure.
Imagine how much faster something would move if it was slingshot from a very low gravity like the moon.
Yeah, that would be pretty impressive. That gets some speed.
Like you don't have to overcome the whole atmosphere and gravity of Earth. You're just immediately at whatever speed.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Ooh, that's interesting right there.
Yeah.
That is some interesting shit.
I got
That's
a couple
big
gears
brain
up
thinking.
here.
That's big
I
brain
got a
thinking.
couple gears.
Oh, speaking of that patch and that logo, did you ever see the Space Force patch? I love bringing up Space Force because it's so absurd,
I
and it's such
what was that one cartoon movie? That's all I can think of whenever someone says Space Force. I'm trying to remember what the name of it. It was done by the guys that did Beavis and Butthead or South Park. I forget which ones.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't even remember what. I know what you're talking about. But
Something. It was just a total farce, making fun of superheroes and whatnot. But that's all I think of when someone says Space Force.
so
At this point, maybe it turns out to be something legitimate. But
so the Space Force is a new branch of the military. Legit. We're not fucking messing. We're not playing you guys. The Space Force is a legitimate new branch of the military. Now, we've been saying for years that there's obviously some sort of ships. They found lists of ships. You know, there's a lot of evidence. Look it up. That we may have spacefaring vessels already. What better double cover up way than to actually create a Space Force, which ironically was a show that was coming out at the same time on HBO with Steve Carell. They didn't argue the point or anything. They let the show go, and it was brilliant because the show was brilliant. It's exactly what you think Space Force would be like. We don't know nothing about space right now, the common person. Scientists and shit that work at Area 51 or some, other military site, they probably know way more than me. In fact, I'm pretty confident they do.
Oh, Phoenix, you need to stop me before I get you in trouble.
Why?
I'm looking at the civilian jobs on Space Force's site, and they're asking how I learned about it. I clicked friend, and I'm about to enter in a name.
You are such a
Douchebag.
I'm gonna use Phoenix. Maybe it'll take them a while to find you. I don't know.
Probably not. This is Space Force, okay? They have a big budget. So, anyways, the Space Force logo, I put it up on the show right now, and it looks a little familiar,
Little Trekkie.
a little Trekkie. Because if you look at it again, I actually put it next to the Star Trek logo,
Yeah.
and the whole thing looks very, very similar. Now, as a Star Trek fan and a sci-fi fan, it's not a bad way to form your opinion on how to handle yourself out in space. Is to follow Star Trek as opposed to Star Wars that just wants the Civil War every 5 seconds. While I love Star Wars with every ounce of my being, that's exactly what it's a war movie. Star Trek is literally a science movie.
Kind of in the name. Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then I just think it's
Trek.
But Star Trek has great philosophies like not interfering and the way they kind of search for other things. And science, of course.
It's science.
All the time. One last thing I want to bring up before we close out this week is the Xbox Museum. I put the link in the show notes. The Xbox Museum is pretty interesting because it can tell you a lot about your gaming.
What city are they going to have that in?
They're not. It's a virtual one.
What?
It's virtual. It's on your console. So you can actually see the museum and go to different, just click on the link in the show notes. So you can go to different aspects of your gaming career. You and I have been around since the very beginning of Xbox Live. We've never stopped.
Yeah,
So there's very few of us. And to look back at your entire history and see what games you played on this console, what games you played on this console. It's a great interface. And it's really interesting to see I only got half of the achievements on that. That was a good game. And
yeah, I'm gonna have to spend a few minutes on that at some point.
And going forward, apparently they're going to put video clips. So the video clips that you like and share with the new Xbox with the share button, those are also going to be incorporated into your history, like top voted clips and stuff like that. So what were you going to say? Oh, wait a minute. You went all robot.
Hey, can I get a cowtail?
There we go.
Awesome.
What'd you say before? Oh, another cowtail.
Yeah, so I don't know. Oh, there was a clip I wish I had saved the other day on Splitgate.
Yeah?
Yeah, I needed 4 more kills with the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And I gated it above the other team. They were all protecting the hill. It was a King of the Hill match. All 4 of them were in it.
Yeah.
And the map it was on, I was able to put a portal up high above them.
Yep.
And I just jumped and shot straight down. Boom.
Got them
Killed
all.
all 4 of them.
That must have got you an achievement. Nice.
Got me several.
That was nice. I've been playing Halo.
Triple kill.
Killtacular. That game's awesome for that. I've been playing a lot of Halo because, again, I love that game. It's a whole lot of fun.
It might be.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get you to play. Do you have anything else this week?
No. I got the most important thing I had to say this week. I got out at the very beginning.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You were
again.
right. Unequivocally, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to make a joke about a blind squirrel, or anything like that.
No, and for anybody that's going to sit there and say that I work in the industry and that's how I know, I just told you guys that I've been on quarantine for COVID, so I have no idea what's getting shipped in. No idea. Believe me, I don't want to be out this long. I got stuff I got to do. Anyway,
Yeah, that's bogus.
that's a what?
It's bogus the way they
Yeah.
handle that stuff because
It's
it's the
shitty.
same thing where I work. If you have COVID, you go home and you still get paid, but if you have been exposed, you have to get a test and then you can't come back for so many days.
Until you get the
So
test back, yeah.
You have to use either your sick time
Yep.
or your vacation time.
Yeah.
What?
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand why.
Not as much sense as that video that I posted.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like I literally, and as soon as I go back tomorrow, if somebody says something to me or makes a comment, dude, I lost money. Like I shouldn't have said a thing. I was trying to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the entire precinct to get sick. I'm vaccinated, but what happens if I'm carrying it or something?
Well, you can still catch it even if you're vaccinated.
Right. I think I got.
That's like the big thing out there right now. They're like, well, why did people bother to get vaccinated? Because the infection rate among vaccinated people is as high as unvaccinated. Well, yeah, if you're talking about the new variants.
Right. I mean, I felt really lethargic for like 2 days in a row and had no appetite at all. And for a fat guy, that's a problem. My son, of course, has it. He lives in the house. My wife had a runny nose out of nowhere. We're in December. It wasn't allergies. You probably got a lower, you probably got a piece of it, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And the vaccine helped with that. But again, that's where but that's where we want to get to. We want to get there because it's not just about herd immunity. It's not about herd immunity. It's about sitting there and looking at people that get vaccinated and like the flu. Did you get vaccinated last year? Let's say you did get flu vaccination 3 years ago. Right. You get the flu vaccination. You still got sick. There's times throughout the winter months that you got sick because it was a cold or a stomach bug or something like that. That's all part of it.
And that's this virus is in that family where almost yearly. In fact, this one's mutated 3 times now in the last year and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's just going to be something that hopefully everyone gets back to normal and realizes, hey, this is just part of life going forward, like the flu's been for the last 100 years.
Right. Exactly right.
We'll get your vaccine, minimize the effects of it.
And more importantly, let me get paid for being honest. Jeez.
Yeah.
I could have lied about everything and just kept going to work, and it could have infected people and not even known it or cared, I should say.
Yeah. We've got a massive outbreak going on here. Who's infected? Not me.
Right. Right. I just don't understand the mentality. All right.
You look feverish. No, not at all. I went to the sauna at lunch. Yeah.
All right, that's it for this week. Tents down, show's over.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.
That's awesome.
Come on, you can turn it. You can turn it. I hate this blurry thing.